Today, we'll be talking about the NFC West, otherwise known as, not the really good West that's in the AFC. Grossi Posse Hacker Nation. Welcome to an episode of Podcast, the podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Still, like 3 of these teams can make the playoffs. It's just not the Seahawks. Grossi, and today we are going to be diving in, finishing off the week and the NFC with our way too early predictions as we go through every single team, look at their toughest games, predict the floor and the ceiling, and then, of course, predict the rankings for this upcoming season within the division. So starting off with the Arizona Cardinals, Mr. Hopkins going to be missing some time just because of some PEDs. So maybe, just maybe, the Cardinals won't have a mid-season collapse because they'll start out terribly. Is that better? I don't know. But the Cardinals added Hollywood Brown, who has some familiarity with Kyler Murray. Their draft was a little bit weird. They bring in Trey McBride, so now they have multiple tight ends, even though Zach Ertz is getting a little bit older, but they did just pay him, but that's neither here nor there. The Cardinals are a weird team. They are doing the Cliff Kingsbury formula, in which they do really, really well. Oh man, wow, they're unstoppable. And then they completely and totally crap the bed. They shouldn't have lost that game against the Packers. The Packers literally didn't have their top 3 wide receivers, and they still found a way to lose because AJ Green forgot to turn around. Then they go to the playoffs and get the absolute crap beaten out of them by the Rams. So, what are the Cardinals going to do? I don't know, but Kyler Murray's probably going to complain about it on Instagram. Taking a look at some of their tough games. Chiefs, Raiders, they of course have the Rams twice. They got the Eagles, the Saints, the Vikings, the 49ers twice, the Chargers, the Browns, and the Bucks. Not an easy schedule for the Cardinals this year. The baseball team might do better. So because of the quality of their opponents and them missing Hopkins, I think their floor could be as low as 6-11 this year, which would be quite the blow. However, taking a look at the inverse, I still think that they should be able to win some of these games. On top of that, Hopkins coming back will be a huge boost for them. And who knows, maybe James Conner will score a cajillion touchdowns this year. I see their ceiling being around 11-6. I still think that they can vie for a playoff spot. They'll still be contending to win the division, and at least they won't have to worry about the Seahawks. Then, speaking of, let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks. Well, we are in June and we don't know who their QB is going to be. It's either going to be Drew Lock or Geno Smith unless they make a trade for Baker Mayfield. But yeah, the Seahawks are in a rough place. They lost Russell Wilson. They struggled. They didn't make the playoffs last year. They were the only team in the division not to make the playoffs. And they seem to be going through a little bit of a rebuild here. Looking at some of their tough games, 49ers twice. They got the Cardinals twice. They got the Rams twice. On top of that, the Broncos, the Saints, the Lions they could struggle with, the Chargers, the Bucks, the Raiders, and the Chiefs. Oof. It's tough when your entire division is basically going to give you a hard time, though they'll probably still wind up sweeping the 49ers. Here, I think their floor is around a 4-13 record. I just don't think they're going to find a ton of success with either Geno Smith or Drew Lock as their QB. They might be looking to next season to maybe drafting one. I think the Seahawks will be contending for a top 5 pick in next year's draft. Their ceiling, a respectable 8-9. I think it's going to be real difficult for them to have a winning record in this division. And on top of that, I just don't think they're going to be good this year. Following that, you got the San Francisco 49ers. Well, guess what? If they play the Packers in the playoffs, at least you guys know that you'll have a free win. That really hurt to say.
Emotional damage.
The 49ers are in a weird place right now, in which they gave up the farm to get Trey Lance. Jimmy Garoppolo is still on the team, is owed a lot of money. And I don't know what they're doing with that. They're like, here, do you want Jimmy G? No? Oh. Well, this is awkward now because they're just sitting there with him. Is Trey Lance going to be the starter? Don't know. Is Jimmy G going to be the starter? Don't know. I would imagine they want to give Trey Lance the starting position. There were a lot of rumors this offseason that he wasn't looking good, but you have Shanahan coming out and defending Trey Lance going, no, this is why we're trying to trade Jimmy G, because we think that Trey Lance can be the starter. And I know a lot of people are thinking that the 49ers are going to take a lot of steps back, but I think that they still have a very good football team. You're going to have guys come back from injury, and I still think that they are definitely going to be contenders here. I think their tough games are against the Broncos. They have the Rams twice. The Cardinals could be an issue for them. Of course, they might get swept by the Seahawks, the Chiefs, the Saints, the Dolphins, the Bucks, and the Raiders. Again, this entire division does not have a cakewalk here. So I think depending on how Trey Lance is going to do, I think their floor could be 7-10. They could struggle a bit. And again, it's going to depend on their QB. However, I think their ceiling is the same as the Cardinals, around 11-6. I think that with Trey Lance, you add that mobility factor in there. You have so many pre-snap motions that Shanahan is going to be able to whip some creative stuff up. And worst case scenario, Jimmy G is the starter. And hell, that got them to the NFC Championship game. So I still think the 49ers are going to be good. Then finally, you have the reigning defending Super Bowl champions. You got the LA Rams. The Rams didn't win a single game in November last year and still won the Super Bowl. Like, do we even care about the regular season anymore? As Packer fans, they were number one the past 2 years, and that got them
nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
I'm not bitter. It's fine. They do have a tough road ahead of them. They lost Von Miller. Tough games against the Bills and Von Miller, the Cardinals, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Bucks, the Saints, the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Packers, the Broncos, and the Chargers. Yeah, guess what? Winning the division doesn't make it so easy the next year, does it? So they definitely have a tough road. Looking at some of these games, I think their floor still should be around 10-7, just because I think they do have a very good football team. Who knows what will happen with OBJ, but they did add Allen Robinson, and of course they have Cooper Kupp already on that team, and they have Van down by the river, Jefferson. So they should still be good. Ceiling, I'm looking at around 12-5 just because of the quality of their opponents. I think that they're playing against some really, really good teams this year, but they have a good shot to still win the division. So if we're going to rank this at number 1, I got the LA Rams. Number 2, the 49ers. 3, you got the Cardinals. And number 4, the Seattle Seahawks. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. How do you feel this division is going to shake out? Let me know what you think. You guys find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or TomGrossiComedy, all social media, see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.